The power steering pump is located behind the airbox and under several components that will need to be moved or removed to access it. You can see the fill cap for the reservoir indicated by the red arrow in this image. Begin by removing the airbox and throttle body. Please see the link at the end of this video for additional assistance with those tasks. Next, you will need to remove the drive belt from the pump pulley and remove the pulley, red arrow, from the pump. Again, please follow the link provided at the end of this video for additional assistance if needed. After that, you are going to perform a partial engine drop and then remove the resonance tube, red arrow, from between the intake runners, blue arrows. Then move the air conditioning compressor out of the way, red arrow. Again, please follow the link provided at the end of this video for additional assistance with all of those tasks if needed. Open the fill cap and using a fluid extractor, remove as much fluid from the reservoir as possible. The more fluid you get out now, the less messy of a job it will be. Use a proper fluid extractor here. Don't try and suck it out with a turkey baster. There are two lines connected to the pump and the reservoir. The return line, blue arrow, and the high pressure line indicated by the red arrow. The return line can be a bit tricky to remove. This image shows it with the alternator removed for photographic purposes. You do not need to remove it, but it will give you easy access to the line if you do. If you want to remove it and need some help with that, please follow the link provided at the end of this video. There are two plastic tabs on the back of the reservoir, and indicated by the blue arrows, that need to be pushed in and then pull the plastic line out from the reservoir. I find that pushing in on the line, red arrow, while compressing the tabs helps the line free itself from the reservoir. You can use an open-ended wrench or trim removal tools, but just try it with your hands first. Place a rag down as fluid will escape from the line depending on how much you got out with your fluid extractor. Use a 16mm wrench and counterhold the fitting on the pump with a 27mm wrench and break free the high pressure line from the fitting, red arrow. Again, be prepared to catch any fluid that might escape. Use an E12 Torx and remove the two mounting screws on the front of the pump, red arrows, then use an E10 Torx and remove the rear screw, blue arrow. You can now remove the pump from the vehicle. Use care as there will still be some fluid in it. Always cover or plug the lines to keep any contaminants from getting into the system. If you are going to replace the pump, make sure to cover the openings. There is an rubber O-ring on the reservoir side of the pump that you must replace if reinstalling the pump. Installation is the reverse of removal. Torque the front mounting pump screws to 23 Nm or 17 foot-pounds and the rear mounting screws to 10 Nm or 7.5 foot-pounds. The high pressure line is torqued to 35 Nm or 26 foot-pounds. Now fill the reservoir with new fluid and briefly start the engine a few times, and when it fires, switch it off again immediately. This procedure causes the fluid level in the reservoir to fall rapidly, so constantly add more fluid. Do not allow the reservoir to get sucked dry. If the fluid level in the reservoir does not fall any further when the engine is briefly turned over, start the engine and let it run at idle speed. Rapidly turn the steering wheel from lock to full lock several times so the air can escape from the cylinders. Do not pull the steering wheel with more force than is necessary in order to turn the steering. You don't want to build up excess pressure. Observe the fluid level during this procedure. If it continues to fall, add fluid until the level in the reservoir remains constant and no more air bubbles rise in the reservoir when the steering wheel is turned. Correct the fluid level with the engine at idle speed and without moving the steering. To check the steering system for leaks, a visual check, you want to have the engine idling. Then turn the steering wheel as far as the stop and hold it there. This will cause the maximum pressure in the lines, so now check for leaks. Perform the check for a maximum of 10 seconds at a time. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe to our channel and check out another video in this series.